Hi, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to address a question that one of my high school students actually asked, and I thought it was a really insightful question. And he asked, it was several questions in one, I think, but he basically asked, when you become an adult, when you go out in the real world, would it be difficult to stop uh, at a certain point in trying to make more money? And because he's an ambitious kid, he's a motivated kid, and he thinks that when he goes out, he'll probably after college or whatever, he goes out in the real world, he'll probably be motivated to start his own business or start a career of some sort, and you know and spend a lot of time trying to make a lot of money. And he was just wondering, would I be able to stop? Should I stop? When should I stop? Can you ever make too much money? And if you make a lot of money, wouldn't you motivated to just make more and more and more? Because it's fun making money. And so I want to answer. I want to address this question, and I'll tell you what I told him. First of all, I think it's a great question. I think that a high school kid thinking about that is a little profound. I think that's really cool. But I said that before you begin anything, and the same thing is with your career, it's the same thing with your family, it's the same thing with planning for retirement, it's the same thing about your health, about your life in general. I think it's very important to go way back, sort of rewind or forward, if you will, and go to the very end, and you want to rewind from there and say, how do I want to live my life? What decisions do I want to make? What things are going to be most important to me when that day comes in the far off future? Just as an example, um, if you fast forward your life to your deathbed, and you're lying in your deathbed, you have lived your life, you lived a long life, and you have kids, perhaps you have grandkids, perhaps you have great grandkids, I don't know, and you're lying in your deathbed at the end of your life. What will you wish? How will you wish to have lived your life? And whatever that, I wish I would have, whatever. I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have loved my kids more. I wish I would have lived my life with more purpose. I wish that I would have lived my life more dependent upon God instead of being just my own ambitions. Or I wished that I loved my loved ones better or spent more time with them. Or I wish I took better care of my health. I wish that I took care of my finances better. No, whatever your wish is, whatever you think your wish is, honestly, at that point, then I think you want to rewind back to today and say, what decisions do I need to make today? What do I want to do today? And how must I start living my life today and every day so that when I get to that point, I have no regrets? I think it's the same thing with this question that the student asked me. And I said, before you begin your career, I think you have to ask yourself, what do you think will be the most important things in your life? Will it be money? If money is the most important thing in your life, then I think you'll have no choice but to continue working, working, working. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much money you make, you'll just keep making money and keep making money. But the problem with that is you'll get to a point where it will end. Your life will end. Everybody's life ends. And at that point, in your mind and in your heart, if you think all I've ever done was just make money, I just was making money and I did nothing else, would you regret it? And he says, yeah, I would regret it. I think that'd be like a really shallow, miserable life. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. So then, but is making money wrong? Of course not. It's not wrong. But it's a balance. You have to know when enough is enough. And it's not to say you stop working or you stop making money or but it's just, is there a point of contentment? Is there a point of that I don't have to keep striving? I don't have to keep obsessing over, I got to make more and more and more and more and more at the expense of everything else. And so I said, what are the most important things? And perhaps your faith in God, in relationship with Him, maybe that's very, very important to you. Maybe your family is very, very important to you. Maybe spending time with your family is very important to you. Maybe discovering, maybe you like to travel, and discovering, God's world is very important to you. And maybe learning new things and pursuing the passions you have in you. And some of those passions you pursue, they don't necessarily make money, but learning new things and discovering things in life, and maybe that's very, very important to you. Now, a lot of these things will require money for you to do, and some of these things will cost money, but some have nothing to do with money. And so I said, you have to determine how you want to plan that out and how you want to live. Now, of course, you do have to make money because everything revolves around money. You want to go somewhere? You can if you don't have money. You want to go eat out? You can if you don't have money. You want to buy your kids something? You can if you have no money. And so everything, money isn't happiness, but it's certainly opportunity. And if you don't have money, you lose opportunities, right? So, of course, it's important to make money, but can you ever make too much money? I don't know about too much money, but I can absolutely tell you that it is possible to spend too much of your life just focus on money. And that is a big, big mistake, because in the end, you just feel empty. You just feel hollow. I have a lot of money, but I have nothing else. And I met people like this. I have a lot of money, but I have no relationship with my grown kids. They don't even want to come see me anymore. I get a call on Thanksgiving or Christmas or something. That's about it. I mean, I just no relationship with them. And, I've just drifted from the people who are closest to me or who should be closest to me. I feel no peace in my heart. I have no fulfillment in life. I don't really have any purpose. The only thing I've looked forward to is like, what's the next thing I can buy? What's the next thing I can do with the money? I just work all the time. And I know people just work all the time because there's no end game there. It's just about keep making more and more and more and more money. So it's very possible to do that and have big regrets. So what I told my student is, here's the way I think of it. I said, I think that it's important to make a lot of money because if you are in America, if you're very poor, you have sort of a safety net, right? You can get certain handouts from the government, and you can get certain monies, and you can get certain benefits from the government, and even there's even low-income housing and so forth. Or if you're very wealthy, you don't really have to worry about money. But the vast majority of people are in the middle class, and some are even in the middle class. There's upper and higher levels of income, but middle class is where I think a lot of people are, right? And a lot of people struggle because they're in the middle class. They're not poor enough to get the government benefits, but they're certainly not rich enough to not worry about money. They have to worry about money all the time, and they're afraid they're not going to have enough for retirement, and on and on. And so there's this big dilemma, and the older people get, the more and more they get worried about this. And so the way that I think of it, yes, it's important to make a good income, a high income, if possible. Make as much money as you can, and especially in your 20s and 30s, I think you do have to sacrifice your time with your friends and maybe time with family, even if you're going to start a business, to really grow your business and make it solid, so that in your 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s you can live more comfortably and you don't have to worry about money. But if you sort of just play in your 20s and 30s and didn't build anything, didn't build a foundation, then you really get desperate and urgent the older you get, which is very bad. And so, but if you work on raising your income, increasing your income, at the same time you have to work on eliminating your debt. And I think this is so important. This takes a lot of self-discipline, And I made a previous video on good debt, bad debt. There's no such thing as good debt, I said, and I talked about, your goal should be to pay off your debts. But I absolutely strongly believe in this in your personal finances. So, you got your mortgage, you got your car loans, you have your student loans, perhaps you have credit card loans, you have whatever other outstanding loans that you have, and you have to make a plan to continue increasing your income, but to decrease and eliminate your debt. So imagine that if you're making the same money you're making today, but you're paying $5,000 a month for all this, for your mortgage and for your car, for your student loans, for all the things that go out every month. Let's just say you spend $5,000 a month, but that debt disappears. You suddenly have $5,000 more per month that you didn't have before, because before it was all going towards your debt. You pay off all your debts, and sometimes, usually that will take years. Sometimes it'll take 15 years. I always tell people you should aim to pay off your mortgage in 15 years or less, and you should pay off everything else in that time as well, if you can, if you possibly can. So you want to set up a plan. You want to pay off your smallest debts first, and then put whatever money you were putting in there and putting it towards the next smallest thing. Then when you pay that off, put all that money back into the next thing, and on and on and on until you pay everything off. And that takes a lot of discipline. It'll take some sacrifice, but you do that. And when you do that, and let's say you're at a certain age, let's say you're 60 years old, you got all your debt paid off, and your income is you're still working, your income is not bad. Man, suddenly you have all this money that was going towards that, and now you just have it. So what do? You go buy a $80,000, $100,000 car? No. You make sure that you do, and if you don't have already, that you have some kind of an emergency fund. And I always say 6 months to a year's worth of expenses you should have saved up. Okay, not somewhere in a stock market, but like in your bank, just cash. So you paid off all your debts, you have a good emergency fund, and then you keep growing your income. Now, if you are a federal employee, government employee of some sort, you might have a pension plan. So when you retire, you have a pension plan coming in. Maybe it's not that much, but you have something coming in every month until you die. Now, if you don't have that, man, it's so important, more important that you pay off your debts, that you have an emergency fund, that you keep increasing your income. And you have to find some way that even after you retire, after you stop working at that job, you still probably will need some kind of income coming in. And so, but let's say that the scenario is your income is pretty good, your debt is gone, you have a good safety net of cushion money, your emergency fund money, and you continue to grow your income. At some point, if every month, if you have a lot of money left over every month, and your income can grow indefinitely or even stabilize, it doesn't even have to keep going up and up and up and up, but if you can stabilize, at some point, and you can do all the things you want to do. You can go to the places you want to go to. You can eat out wherever you want to go. You can buy whatever. And if you can do that, it supports your lifestyle, and you still have a lot of money left over after every month. Do you really need to spend even more time trying to make more money? I don't think so, because now you got the time freed up. And isn't really time more valuable than money? Think about that. When you lose your time, you will never get that back. Ever. If you lose money, you can make money up. You can make more money, but you cannot make more time. And pretty soon in your life, as you live, you begin to think, well, I have enough money. I can do all the things I want. I still have a lot of money left over every month. So I'm good. I'm good. And I have plans for retirement, and I'm all right. But do I want to spend more time on my health, on my family, on my relationship with God, on my whatever? And so those kinds of things, the things that are most important to you, isn't that worth your time more than just spending a lot of time just trying to make money? And so this is the answer. It's a long-winded answer, but I sort of gave a concise version of this to my student, and he thought about it, and he agreed. And I said, every person has to be careful about not going overboard with this. You got to be very careful with it. Sure, making money is good, but if in your mind you think I can never make enough and you just keep going overboard, there are other things that you will lose if you do that. Everything in life is like that. So you have to find a good balance. You have to know yourself well. You got to be self-aware. You have to be responsible. You have to be disciplined so that you live with no regrets. No big regrets, at least. And so I hope that it is helpful to you. I just thought a teenager asking me that was so insightful, and I thought that was a great topic to make a video on. So I just wanted to address that. So I hope that was helpful to you. And as always, thanks so much for watching this video. And until my next video, stay well.